Every so often, there's a game that comes along that defines and perfects the genre so well the game becomes highly regarded, and you will see many copies and clones to follow. As I have mentioned in my previous Ape Out video, Hotline Miami falls in this category. Now it seems their publisher, Devolver Digital, is looking for new games of that style, and that's where Katana Zero comes in. It is clear Katana Zero is heavily influenced by Hotline Miami, and uses the same 80s style synthwave look and sound. Katana Zero's soundtrack is very similar and does exactly what it needs to, and if you enjoy synthwave, you'll enjoy the soundtrack. Both games are based out of the 1980s, and just like Hotline Miami 2, Katana Zero makes it appear you're playing the game on a VHS recording. It's definitely a great style, and Katana Zero doesn't make itself look like a cheap knockoff. Now where Katana Zero starts to differentiate a little bit is in its gameplay. The obvious difference is you play in a side-scroller as opposed to top-down gameplay. Both break enemies up into different rooms that you must enter and defeat all the enemies within, and they both make use of one-hit kills. However, Katana Zero loses out on the complexity that Hotline Miami had in its combat. In Katana Zero, you mostly rely on your sword and it becomes a bit repetitive at times. You run in, you roll, you cut, and sometimes you find items to throw which will come in handy, but you will mostly rely on just your sword. The biggest change the game gives you in combat is the ability to slow down time, and honestly the first 3/4 of the game I completely forgot I had the ability. Slowing down time is unnecessary for the entire game, but it did come in handy in the late game. The ability to manipulate time is pointless, as the combat is so menial throughout the game, you don't start to get challenged until the last portion of the game. This is my main issue with Katana Zero. When the combat finally starts to challenge me, the game just ends. It should have started the way it ended, though of course there is a hard mode, which I unlocked in the end. While it does sound like I'm being harsh on Katana Zero, does that mean I don't recommend it? Well, I actually do recommend this game, and I was surprised by how much fun I had with it. The reason I found it so enjoyable was the story. And the story supplements the gameplay perfectly and makes the game worth it in the end. The best way I can describe the story is it plays out like a Philip K. Dick drug trip. And if you don't know who Philip K. Dick is, you most likely have heard of his books, which are turned into movies. With that said, you play as a war veteran and a samurai Pikachu. Each mission throughout the game starts with you meeting with your psychologist, who is treating you with drugs. After the meeting, he'll give you an assignment. Each of the missions from here is a specific assassination target. Each mission plays out pretty much the same. You go through and kill everyone, but there are some missions that require stealth, and it appears the way you complete the mission seems to affect the dialogue as you play. Though the overall outcome of the game does not seem to change based on your dialogue choices, but it does allow you to interact and play out the story in interesting ways. As the story does progress, things get a little trippy and mysterious and keeps you wanting more. This of course can again be compared to Hotline Miami. They both have mysterious and strange stories. As much as I enjoyed the Hotline Miami storyline, the story told in Katana Zero holds even stronger for me. Sadly, Katana Zero ends on a to be continued, and not only that, it's just a 4-hour game. That means for $15, they're selling a 4-hour game with the intention of getting you hooked to buy yet another most likely $15 game. I guess I can't complain too much. Hotline Miami was similar, it had a planned sequel from the start, and the first game was also only 4 hours. Hopefully the sequel for Katana Zero can be just as good as Hotline Miami 2 was. The story for the game already has me hooked and I'm looking forward to the sequel. While the gameplay was on the easy side, it does show what it's capable of by the end of the game, and if a sequel can build on that and continue to build on the story, I could definitely see an improved sequel and a good conclusion to this story. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed my review of Katana Zero, and if you did, I have plenty more reviews coming, and some videos in my backlog you can also check out. Thanks for stopping by.